Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tear. I'm sorry I'm getting off to kind of a late start today, but I guess I was a little busy with other stuff. Anyway, I'm up to song number 2845 on my list, and that one is Moni Moni by Billy Idol. Um, and it was released on his EP entitled Don't Stop. Um, and here's a picture of Billy Idol. He was never one of my favorite artists. I'll give you a little bit of background on him first and also go through his discography. But he was a pretty wild rock and roll musician, as you can probably tell from his pictures. I don't know. I think he was just a little too vulgar for my taste. He was a good musician, but I mean, he looked like someone who could just stab you on the street. I don't know. But anyway, I'll go through his hits. His first hit was in 1982. It was called "Hot in the City," and then later he had "White Wedding." I remember "White Wedding" was the first video of his I ever saw, and it was a pretty gruesome video. I mean, there's this scene where the groom puts this wedding ring on his bride's finger and it bleeds, and then there's this scene where she's dancing around and all the appliances in her kitchen are blowing up. I don't know what that was all about, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. And then what else did he have? He had a minor hit with Dancing with Myself. I actually learned something kind of interesting. I mean, I remember the video for Dancing with Myself too. That was another really pretty crazy video. It's like a post-apocalyptic video where he's chasing these zombies, I think. And I was surprised. I used to see this video a lot on MTV. I didn't mind the song, but this was only a hit in two countries. I just learned it was number nine in New Zealand and number 42 in Australia in 1983. I would have thought it was a bigger hit. I actually like it better than White Wedding, but then he had Rebel Yell in later in '83 and '84. He had his first top 10 in the USA was Eyes Without a Face. That went to number four in the United States. Then later that year, he had Flesh for Fantasy. In '86, he had To Be a Lover and Don't Need a Gun and Sweet 16. In '87, he had the song I'm featuring today, which is Moni Moni. And this is a remake. I'm going to get to this in a minute. But the original version of this song, I think it's a rock classic. It was originally recorded by a very popular '60s group called Tommy James and the Shondells. And their version's coming up much, much higher on my list. I'm not going to say how high, but it's one of my favorite rock songs. Billy Idol did a good version too, actually. I guess that's why I went to number one. And then his last hit in the USA anyway was Cradle of Love that went to number two. That's a pretty good song too. I didn't even mind the video for that one. But anyway, that's enough of Billy Idol. Now I want to talk about the song Moni Moni. So like I said, it was originally hit for this 60s group called Tommy James and the Shondells. They were a really great group. I mean, this was just one of many, many big hits they had. And I like a lot of their songs. I mean, I just think they were one of the best groups from the 60s. I love the music from the 60s, late 60s. That's probably my favorite period in the history of rock and roll. And I think they were one of the big bands of that era. So I really don't have much of anything negative to say about Tommy James and the Shondells. Kind of wish I could have been born about 10 years earlier so I could have experienced them in full glory. But I think I do remember hearing the song Moni Moni played at a lot of high school dances I used to go to. I think they even did it with some colored lights. It's one of those songs where you want to have the lava lamps and the psychedelic lights and all that. Uh, and yeah, and oh, there's an interesting story about the inspiration Tommy James had for Moni Moni. I think it's a really interesting story. He was looking for kind of a nonsense girl's name, a girl's name that you never really hear in real life. There've been a few other ones, like Boney Maroney. I think that was a hit song in the late 50s. And then there was Sloopy, Hang On Sloopy. So he was looking for another name like that. And he was staying at, I guess, a hotel in downtown Manhattan. And he happened to be located just across the street from, what was it, Municipal of New York. A big bank in Manhattan, and the initials are Mony. And he looked at the sign. He said, "That's it," and then he realized that was the name he wanted to use. And actually, there's another interesting bit of trivia for you. I think it was 5 songs ago I featured another remake of a Tommy James and the Shondells song that was, I think, We're Alone Now, which was a number 1 hit for Tiffany and also 1987. Well, there's a couple interesting facts about these 2 songs. First of all, they were both consecutive number 1s in 1987, and I know that I heard this on the radio. I heard that once, I think first it was I think We're Alone Now went to number 1, and then Mony Mony was followed by Mony Mony by Billy Idol, and once Tommy James learned that there were 2 consecutive number 1 remakes of his hits, he was so excited he yelled "Yowza!" And he must have been even more excited than he was when he had the hits himself. I don't know. I mean, pretty amazing, pretty amazing. Neither of those songs went to number 1 for him, although he did have a couple other number 1 hits. I think what were they? Hanky Panky and Crimson and Clover. I'll get to those much later on my countdown too. But anyway, and oh yeah, there's one more fact I want to tell you. The year-end countdown for 1987 on Billboard. Mony Mony and I think We're Alone Now were consecutive songs on the top 100 of the year. Mony Mony came in at number 19, and I think We're Alone Now came in at number 18. So pretty weird. But anyway, that completes my video on Mony Mony by Billy Idol. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next. Bye.